A child's brain, when cut off from safety, floods with panic, cortisol spikes, the world narrows, and even logic dissolves into ritual. Abandonment and hunger don't just haunt fairy tales, they rewire our reality, as Hansel and Gretel reveals. If desperation can make breadcrumbs feel like hope, what happens when the last crumb is gone? In famine-ridden Germany, records from the 17th century show that up to a quarter of households faced empty cupboards during the harshest years. For a child, separation from a caregiver in this context is not just frightening, it sets off a chain reaction deep in the brain. The amygdala floods the body with stress signals, pushing the HPA axis into overdrive. Cortisol surges, shrinking attention to a pinpoint, reason and foresight dissolve. Studies of children cut off from parental protection reveal that this kind of rupture can thin the prefrontal cortex, slow emotional development, and leave scars that last into adulthood. In moments like these, the world shrinks to a single desperate need: find safety, find food, find someone to trust. Scarcity sharpens the panic. Modern research shows that hunger can reduce problem solving by as much as 20% and fixate attention on food cues by nearly 30%. In the space left by security, the mind clings to any ritual that promises even a moment of control. Hansel presses a handful of breadcrumbs into his pocket, each crumb a silent promise that the forest will not win. As the trees close in, he drops them one by one, tracing a path back to the last place he felt safe. Rituals like this, small, repetitive acts, have been shown to lower stress hormones by as much as 10% in anxious children. The mind, under siege by fear and hunger, clings to patterns that offer even a momentary sense of control. Van der Kolk describes this as a trauma ritual, not a plan likely to succeed, but a compulsion to repeat what once brought relief. Gretel watches, trusting her brother's ritual, hoping it will protect them both. But nature is indifferent. Birds descend, erasing the trail, and with it, the illusion of safety. The forest swallows their last attempt at order, leaving only the raw edge of vulnerability behind. A house appears in the shadows, frosted with sugar and glowing with warmth. For a starving child, this is not just shelter, it is salvation. Neuroscience shows that hunger does more than empty the stomach. It primes the brain's reward circuits to light up at the mere hint of food. PET scans reveal that dopamine surges by as much as 30% in hungry children, shown images of sweets, hijacking caution and flooding the mind with craving. The witch's cottage is bait designed for brains in survival mode. Every colourful candy and gentle word triggers a chemical rush that drowns out suspicion. Evolution has wired humans to chase relief when deprivation grows unbearable. The children's bodies ache for calories, but their minds are just as vulnerable to the promise of comfort. In this moment, the witch's hospitality feels like rescue, not danger, a perfect trap sprung by biology as much as by malice. The door closes behind them. Safety, for now, is only an illusion. Gretel stands at the edge of the oven, the witch's shadow looming over her. For days, she has watched her brother weaken behind iron bars, his hope draining with every test and every scrap of stale bread. The witch, certain of her own power, orders Gretel to lean in and check the fire. In that instant, something shifts. Under extreme threat, the brain's decision-making center, the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, can override deep-seated moral rules, tilting judgment toward cold survival. Laboratory studies show that acute stress can boost strategic problem-solving by over 20%, sharpening instincts that would otherwise be dulled by fear. Gretel's hands no longer tremble. She moves quickly, pushing the witch into the flames. The act is not born of anger, but of necessity, a utilitarian calculation forced by captivity and hunger. In that moment, helplessness gives way to lethal agency. Survival, once a distant hope, is seized through a single irreversible choice. Across the world today, more than 150 million children are estimated to be living without stable homes, according to UNICEF. In the United States alone, the Department of Agriculture reports that over 12 million children face food insecurity each year, meaning their families cannot reliably provide enough to eat. On a global scale, nearly 1 in 4 children under 5 suffer from stunted growth linked to chronic hunger. These numbers are not just statistics. They represent lives shaped by daily uncertainty, forced choices, and the constant pressure of scarcity. The scale of deprivation stretches far beyond any single story, grounding the experience of abandonment and hunger in reality for millions. False promises still lure the desperate. Aid can arrive with strings attached, food, shelter, or safety only if certain rules are followed or silence is kept. Behavioral economics shows that when resources are scarce, people are far more likely to accept unfair terms or overlook hidden costs, trading long-term well-being for short-term relief. Systems designed to help can become modern candy houses, offering comfort while quietly demanding compliance. Even now, over 250 million children face food insecurity worldwide. When scarcity and abandonment collide, survival shapes morality. What choices will we force by what we ignore? Share your thoughts below.